Welcome, Inessa Frantowski, to That Girl, the podcast. Today, we are going to talk about Valentine's Day. We're going to get all into how to celebrate Valentine's Day, whether you are coupled, you are not coupled, or maybe you're in a situationship and it's complicated. We'll just figure it out. So today, we're going to talk all about that. But welcome, Inessa, to the show.
Hello, I'm so thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. We met on a commercial recently, and she was
Mhm.
just so funny and adorable. And I was like, you should come on the podcast. We should talk.
Absolutely. And we gabbed quite a bit, I have to say. We were
We did.
chatting. And what I love too, I'm always excited meeting somebody when you dig right into the deep topics. Like I was like there's no shyness between us. I was like, let's talk about all the real big life questions in this 19-minute break that we're having,
Well,
like
I prefer the deep talks. I am a I'm a Scorpio. I run real deep. What's your sign?
I'm a Sag Cap cusp, so I'm December
Oh,
23rd. So I
oh,
have like the artsy side from Sag, and then from Capricorn is the probably the little more determined side of me,
yeah,
maybe.
you've got your shit together if you got some Capricorn in there.
Yeah, well.
I love it, but I love diving deep with people. So, even though today will be a fun episode, we will dive deep into the psychology of Valentine's and how people are coping. So, we had sort of talked about being alone for Valentine's Day. And I was saying that I actually, while I'm in a relationship now, I've really enjoyed my Valentine's days by myself. Like, I will tell you what I do because if anyone wants to copy, please do. It's the best. I make myself real pasta, not some rice, brown rice crap. I make the real pasta with a real, like, light tomato sauce, like that I make from scratch. And I pour a good glass of red wine and I dance around my apartment to good music and I watch Under the Tuscan Sun like every single woman does on Valentine's Day. And I have some sort of awesome dessert. And it's great, guys. It's been a great Valentine's Day.
I love that. That my favorite thing you said there was real pasta.
Yeah.
I just feel like I have that theory about like a piece of toast. I think we've lived in like such a carb-free society for so long that I'm like, you know what? You know what makes me feel great? A piece of toast. If I have a single piece of toast, I'm not craving like a million. I was like, and it's just one little bit of bread, 100 calories. We've demonized it so much. So I love like if you eat something
Mhm.
that's really, really, really delicious, then you're not going to crave a bunch of other. I mean, that does relate to dating, doesn't it? Right? You need it's quality over quantity, right? Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. So true. Which is why I spent a lot of my Valentine's days alone because I was like quality over quantity. How do you
Great.
feel?
Love that.
Right? Like, how do you feel about, what have you done for like your Valentine's days when you've been alone?
Well, I've definitely done a Galentine's, so I definitely
Yes.
love to well, I mean, I do love an all gal kind of event, and I think that that can be really fun. But again, it's just celebrating for the sake of celebrating. And I think sometimes we default to like, well, I don't want to celebrate that holiday or I don't want to do anything. But I love reimagining something instead. Another one of my favorite things to do since I love appetizers is I might get just appetizers. I might
Oh,
do a dinner of just appetizers, just your favorite little Trader Joe's appies, and
yeah.
also always an affordable glass of wine. And that's a really fun
That
time as
sounds good. I
well.
actually would totally eat a whole meal of like chips and salsa if you let me.
Yes, absolutely.
I like to spoil my dinner.
I was like, I think I had Chili's Chiles yesterday for breakfast, and then I had nachos at dinner, and I was like, it's chips for every meal kind of day.
I am living my best life.
Yeah.
I know. I've been actually having quite a lot of pasta recently, and I'm like, ooh, this is interesting. So okay, so if we're giving advice because we know everything about Valentine's Day, what could we suggest for people if they are feeling lonely on Valentine's and feel that they need someone? What is your advice to them?
Well, I think one of the things that you can do if you're feeling lonely is often what combats loneliness is not necessarily partnership, but sense of community. So sometimes if you're feeling lonely, reaching out to somebody to see if they need help, sometimes can help get you out of that and give you kind of like a sense of purpose. Most of the times when we're lonely, like we're thinking about one particular kind of relationship, but we don't realize the impact we have on such a community. And I think that that's important to remember. So if it's like, hey, like, do you need help on this project? Do you need me to read over a script for you or something like that? Like, and then inevitably it kind of creates sort of a sense of purpose. Because really, it's interesting about loneliness. We should only have one lonely person on the planet theoretically because there's enough of us that
Yeah.
there's all different kinds of ways that we need each other. So I was like, why don't people just, if everybody's lonely, why are lonely people all separate? It's usually like you've got to get together, and there's always
Yeah.
somebody in the same boat as you.
Right.
Like there's always somebody who's just gotten out of a relationship or hasn't been in a relationship or who is doesn't want to date at all. There's always someone out there. And the other thing that I always say about being single is the great thing about being single is you can douse yourself in apple cider vinegar and it doesn't matter because nobody will smell it. So you can do all your weird, like homeopathic natural remedies. I was like
Oh my
doing the
God.
apple cider vinegar on the face for a while, but I was like, well, I always stink like vinegar now. But when I'm single, who cares? So do all
God.
your smelly self
Oh
care.
my God, seriously, I'm gonna double down on that. That's like my new saying recently. I'm like, I'm gonna double down. Like, where did that come from? It's like I'm reviving swingers. Anyway, no, that's so true. Like, I love sleeping by myself. Like, I really love sleeping by myself. And
Yes.
I'm really excited because this might sound really awful, but like my boyfriend and I are talking about moving in, and like we've actually discussed having separate bedrooms. Not that we'd sleep in them always, but because sometimes you just want to sleep alone. And that's one of the things I miss about being single. I'm like, shoot, like that's gonna suck. I'm really gonna want my own room.
You know what? I'm so glad you brought that up because what are we told all the time about if you're looking for partnership? I talked about this with a friend where it was like, well, you have to make space for the person.
Yes.
Make space for them. So sleep on one side of the bed because you're leaving space for your partner. Don't fill your second closet because you're leaving space for your partner. And I talked about to a friend about this recently, and she was like, I'm filling the closet. I need to fill the closet. And it's like, how for years did not the one perk of being single is being able to starfish on your bed, really
Yes.
sprawl out. So it's like, why are we not enjoying the advantages of the life that we have? You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, no, enjoy spreading out and sprawling out. And I know there are lots of married couples who have incorporated that system for a variety of reasons. My parents now too have separate rooms. My dad's up later. He usually paints late at night. My mom wants to watch her shows.
Right.
They have Tim Burton, I think, and Helena Bonham Carter. They had like two separate houses that had like a secret tunnel
Oh
that
my
like
God. I've heard of stuff like that. I thought that was a joke, but I love that. Like we're connected yet I don't know. Like I know we're kind of tangenting, but like this is such an interesting topic to me. Like, why do we all need to be completely immersed in our other person? Like, why does it have to be that codependent thing we had when we were like 20? I am not 20. I'm never going to be 20 again. I love my partner, but like I don't know. We don't need to be attached to the hip. And I'm so okay with this. Like, I'm so okay with it. I mean, technically, we actually will have two homes. They won't have a bridge because they'll be in separate states, but we are going back and forth. Like,
yeah, that's
we're doing
fun.
it. It's great.
You miss each other, like you get a little sense of that, like, sometimes long distance, it's like, oh, well, it can feel a little bit like a vacation when we're together. And, so you get a little bit of a sense of like looking forward to seeing each other. I think that there's a lot of ways that you can achieve balance, and it makes you better in your relationship when you get
Yeah.
to do other stuff separately and get to enjoy seeing each other. And
And you
I
have
was sort of,
something to say when you see them. You're like, guess what I did today?
yeah.
You don't know everything I did today because you're not here. It's great.
Well, I learned this lesson in a bit of an annoying way, but it was like back in the day, I was dating a musician and this was like before, it was like he was pretty late to get a cell phone, but it was like he didn't have a cell phone. And
Weird.
it was like, it's not like we were at iPhones yet. We were still maybe at like cell phones, but it was quite annoying, obviously, sometimes not being able to get in touch. But what was great was that it was like, guess what? We have to meet. If we're going to meet at a certain time, we have to meet there. And guess
Hmm.
what? If we don't meet there or something comes up, I'll see you when I get home. We lived together too, so it was like we always like whatever. But he was very shy and kind of more introverted type. And instead of trying to force him all the time to come out or
Yeah.
force him all the time, it was like, no, I'll go out with my friends and like, and then he'll stay home and write a song. And then, we'll come back and chat about it. And I think in my first
Yeah.
relationship, I was definitely like trying to like always be together. I was like, I love him. He's the best. You should all love him, and was always bringing him out. And now I'm like, oh, it's actually strengthens the relationship sometimes when you respect that people are different and that we
Yeah.
all don't have to be the same.
That's such a great point because I mean, my partner and I, he's an introvert, I am an extrovert, and he'll come out with me to stuff, but I'm not like, again, I think this is an age thing where you're just like, you don't need to be attached to the hip. And you're like, babe, if you want to come, come. If you don't, that's fine too. Like, I'm good. You're good. We're good. It's fine. Like, no
Yeah.
one is feeling that like we need to share every freaking thing together. I mean, we do, but not like everything. I
Yeah.
like it. I think it's nice to hear that too for people who are like listening and there are, maybe feeling like, oh, I'm so sad. I wish I had someone. Honestly, I think the older you get, the more advanced your relationships become. And they're not maybe what you remembered in your last relationship of being super codependent. Because honestly, that's what we were. We were all just really codependent.
Oh, totally. Like I remember my mom being like, "Why don't you all date?" Like she's like, "None of you date." She's like, "When I was single, I would have a date on Tuesday, a date on Saturday, a date you all, and I think we thought we were doing a good thing. We all just started going steady or becoming, young partners or
Young
whatever
partners.
right away.
Starter marriages. That's what we were.
Yeah, and I think that dating is sometimes a discipline, a practice, that you don't necessarily see the benefit of. We always want the end thing. It's like, well, I just want to be in love already.
Mhm.
But I do think that nowadays when I look back on younger people, and I actually don't even know how we could get upset about any, like, of course it feels so real at the time, but you see young
Yeah.
people and you're thinking there's no way. Are you at this stage where it's hard for you to watch like The Bachelor and stuff now?
Oh God, I'm so glad you brought that up. I love you so much right now. I can't watch it any longer. It was this last year, and that was it. Whatever, was it this year or was it last year? Whenever they did the two girls as the bachelorettes, I was like, that's it. I was already on my way out, but now I'm just done. I can't even stomach this. No, I can't do it.
That was torture for them. I can't
Hmm.
believe that it was the absolute, the one thing that was like empowering about it was that you kind of had the choice. If you were the bachelorette, it's like, wow, you've just made it so that you've just completely put them in an insecure place the whole time now. They don't get to feel as empowered. But really, I was just like, I don't think I can watch young people who've never been in love tell me what love is anymore. Like,
Oh my God. I
I
mean,
was like,
it was cringy. It's been cringy. Do you remember the one guy? This is a long time ago, but he used to say like, "I just want to guard and protect your heart." And that was his
oh.
line over and over. He's like, "I just want to guard and protect your heart." And the girl's like, "Cool, thanks. Like, you're done. We're done." But I mean, guys are, I mean, guys are dumb. Girls are dumb. They don't know what love is. They're just like, I don't know. I read about this in a book or saw it in a movie, and like, I guess this is what I should. I'm gonna guard and protect your heart. And you're like, oh,
From what? You?
from yeah, like from exactly from what? I don't know. It's bad. But like there's also, yeah, I think there's this difference. It's funny, I actually wrote a paper about this, about reality dating shows. And I talk a lot about how whether we think we're paying attention and like copying this, what we're seeing on a dating show in real life or not, we are affected by it.
Mhm.
Subconsciously, it is seeping in. If you are watching The Bachelor or Love Island or whatever your guilty pleasure is, I have even found myself like I literally created a hometown week this last week with my boyfriend. I was like, I'm going to show you where I grew up. I'm going to show you all the
Oh.
places that I went to. I was like, never have come up with that if I wasn't watching The Bachelor for 10 years. Come on. But like even expectations of like what you should get, what, and listen, like we have high expectations. We should. We're women. We deserve the best. Men deserve, we all deserve the best here. But like it does seep in with, with the Bachelorette or the Bachelor, like, am I worthy of this person?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think that it's like, it's derivative of like fairy tale culture, or so now it's reality shows. It was,
Mhm.
fairy tales, the happily ever after, Prince Charming. But I always remember, I'm like, we've only had a couple of generations where women have really even been free. Like my parents' generation, it was like everybody, you got pregnant, you got married because it was the right thing to do, or you didn't, and then you got shunned from your family or your religion or whatever. Those were your two choices. So it was
Mhm.
really hard to kind of really even imagine a life that's free. And we talked a little bit about that. We still have all of that indoctrination. Even if we've broken away and we've chosen a new life path, those are still things that we have to kind of reconcile and work
Yeah.
through. They creep up from time to time, whereas like hopefully generations to come, they'll have more flexibility, more options, more different ways to live. I think inevitably like the economy, the ability to buy houses, the environment, all kinds of other factors I think are going to alter the way we live and the way we
Mhm.
perceive family. Hopefully in a positive way, into more of like a community mindset. But yeah, all that stuff is still there. It's kind of hard to get out of it. And then I think we always imagine the best case scenario. So the thing that we think we want, we see it all the time. Like you're always like, well, I'm imagining this person seemed like they had such a great life on Instagram, and
Yeah.
I can't believe this, you know. Yeah, I think it's like, oh, right. We always imagine. So if I'm imagining marriage and kids and all of that, I'm picturing it like going great. I'm not imagining, my partner losing their job,
Yeah.
and I'm not imagining infidelity. I'm not imagining sickness and illness and all of these other things that could be a
Mhm.
million different ways that possibilities of things could go. So we have to check that fairy tale mentality of like, okay, but it could be some of those old fairy tales were really like
They were
had some really
scary.
dark stuff in them too,
Yeah.
like
They were
so
like, here, give me your voice and then you can go hang out with this boy. Like it was a lot. It was a lot
yes,
of trade.
yes, I gotta say, out of all the fairy tales, don't do Little Mermaid.
Mm-mm.
Little Mermaid, not
Mm-mm.
worth it.
Mm-mm. I love The Little Mermaid because I love mermaids, but still, it is awful. Like, yeah, obviously we've all grown up and we're like, wow, that's a terrible trade. That the only princess I think that I actually like, who's like old school princess, would be Belle. She's feisty, she reads, she wasn't into Gaston. She was like, I don't need a man. And then she fell for like the ugliest man. I mean, it was a little Stockholm syndrome, but like I think she loved him.
It is, it is, yeah, you go, yeah, personality wise, what a great personality. But then you see what she ends up with. The Beast? Come on.
I think it shows how not superficial she is.
Yes. We do go into a bit of bestiality territory here, but
Happy Valentines. Don't be
yeah.
picky. Oh my god. Okay, so this is our single people. They're going through their thing. They're navigating. I think my biggest piece of advice is just like I really loved what you had to say. Going and seeing other people, volunteering, having a Galentine's. One of my favorite Valentines was that I threw a huge Valentine's Day party. Like, everybody was invited. It was so much fun. And it was just good, it wasn't about like romantic love so much as it was just about love and just having a good time.
Yeah, I love that. My friend actually threw a birthday party, and the theme was flirty, which I thought was really fun. And I think that, you know, we always focus too on like flirting and romance again with romantic partners, but I started to do this thing. I called it Interaction City, where I would be like, I'm just going to focus not on romance, but on just connecting with more people, period, and having more interactions. And how do I start a conversation with a stranger at a grocery store? Not romantic, but
Yeah.
just oftentimes it's just a compliment. Like I'll just say, hey, nice shirt, or something like that. It's like, or have a little bit of a joke with the barista at Starbucks or something, and I started to kind of count my interactions of just being like, I tend to kind of be like all or nothing. Like if I don't have like the perfect life and the perfect job and the perfect partner, then I'm a failure. Instead of just being like counting all these little wins of like, hey, I connected with this person. I brightened this person's day. I had a laugh with this person. Somebody complimented me yesterday, like a couple of people on my glasses or there's something, and I was like, oh, like really made my day. You just never know, a little tiny act could make somebody's whole day.
Yeah, that's so true. um And when you say that, it's like those are the big wins because they're little wins and they add up to consistent wins.
Yes.
Because we all know this, but like when we get the big win, it feels great for a moment. And you
Yeah.
don't even know how long that moment's going to last. Is it going to be 5 minutes? Is it going to be 5 days? I don't know, but it's going to fade. And so if you have these little wins in your and I love that you're also talking to people because I do that too. I like to talk to people. People are always so happy that you said hi or compliment them or whatever. It's just, I think humans do want to communicate with each other. We do want to feel community. But, in cities like LA or New York, we're so focused on just moving and getting to where we need to get to. And, everyone has a huge guard up. Like whenever I go into other states besides New York and LA, everyone is so friendly and nice and they're not
Yeah.
guarded. They want to talk. And it's really a good thing to remember. So just say hi.
Yeah, sometimes too. I know in Toronto, where I'm from originally, people will say that city's very polite, but what is polite sometimes leads to people not talking or wanting to be like, oh, it's rude to speak to someone. I don't want to scare them, or. So I there can be that sentiment sometimes that, whereas like in New York, I feel like people are much more open, to chat and stuff and be themselves more. It feels like LA, we have like such a curated existence in general, what we're presenting. I feel like the way to stand out in LA is to not do that because people are like shocked that you can like talk about, because I think everybody's moving here to like reinvent themselves and da da da. So when you can even like talk about your problems to someone, they sometimes find it very refreshing if you can be real and be like, just having a terrible day, really scared about, like really scared about, how I'm gonna get through the month financially or something. People might be like, oh, wow, I'm scared of that too, but I never want to talk about it because it's fake it till you make it here, which I
Mm-hmm.
also think can be really good. The fake it till you make it thing, I think, can be really positive and healthy, because you'll feel how you want to feel if you just live it. But I also think that I'm a comedian, so my job is really to help people cope with shame. Like
Yeah.
my job is for me to be honest, so then other people can be more honest with themselves. Like, and we can have a laugh about it. Instead of always trying to be perfect all the time, which is
I totally feel you on that. Let's talk about perfectionism and we're going to wrap it into dating. We're going to do it because we're going to stay on
yeah.
topic because we could just talk, you and I. But like when we think about dating or even, gosh, being in a relationship, especially a new one, there's this huge feeling of you need to be perfect in order to be chosen. And
Mhm.
again, let's just talk about LA in general because LA is a very particular town and it's wacky. It's just wackadoo. But there are good people out there. I always think like, well, if I'm a good person and I'm real, there's somebody else out there. I mean, my boyfriend's in Scottsdale, so technically he wasn't here, but he did come here to meet me. So
You
anyway,
gotta
but
import
no,
them. Yeah.
it happened to work that way. But there are good people out here, and it's just a matter, I think, of what you were saying, like kind of breaking the ice and being real because people will flock to that. The right people will flock to that, and they'll flock to you. What do you think?
Yeah, you only need you don't need everybody to love you, right? So you do want to find the person who is, or people. I'm sure there's several people potentially for all of us that are right for you. In terms of perfectionism and tying it in, of like the good thing about getting older is that you get clearer on what you want, you know more about your boundaries. But sometimes that can lead to a list, like they have to be this, 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 and this. And I think that is where we can go off course a little bit because truly, there's nobody who would probably like fulfill all of the requirements of any list. It's not to say that you shouldn't have deal breakers, but most of those
Mhm.
things are, for example, it's not if you have sometimes I think, we always think about wanting again people at their best. So people who have their job together, they've got this together, they've got that together. But I kind of want to know, I actually don't want to meet somebody at the best time of their life because how are they going to be if they lose their job? How are they going to be if there's a death in the family? You actually want to go through some stuff with people because you could meet them at their peak, but how do they respond to life's challenges? So I think the only thing I kind of narrowed it down, the only quality that I think is absolutely mandatory for me is how is their attitude towards change? Because change is the only constant in life. So for
Yeah.
me, if you have a positive attitude and it's like, great, okay, we have to move, great. I need to find a new job. You know what? We'll figure it out. There's, a health issue. Guess what? We're going to get through it together.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you have a good attitude towards change, then I feel like that's what will give you longevity, which is what they never do on The Bachelor because the show is so short. You never actually go through a challenge together, you
No.
know,
Mm-mm.
unless the challenge is like surviving being on the reality show with all these other people. But besides that,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, but you don't really like, that's why it's important, in partnership to kind of get to know people on that level. And it's not to say
Mhm.
that you can't figure it out quickly. It's not to say that you don't can't have a hunch about a person.
Yeah.
It's just that attitude of like, how do you approach anything that might upset your routine, you know?
I think like what you're describing too is like if you're in a relationship, it's going well, but it's still new. And then stuff starts to come up, and you're like, oh, look at that. All right. All right. Taking notes, seeing how you react with this, seeing how you're doing with change. And that's, I mean, part of that is just being vulnerable and each person feeling safe enough to be vulnerable. But then, yeah, I mean, it's like the honeymoon stage comes to a close, and you are like, okay, let's see how we really are as real humans that aren't pretending to be perfect or trying to be perfect.
And that can spook you a little bit, that
Mhm.
first kind of argument. Usually those are like where you have that honeymoon phase and then you have that little thing and you think, "Oh no, is this it? Like is this where it all comes down, you know?" And then it's actually more about how you work through that. So even when talking with friends or whatever, and classic thing like they're upset about something or well, why did they do this or why did they do that? And then you speak to them a couple days from now and it's like, "Well, did you talk?" Yeah, we talked it out and like we worked through it. And it was like, oh, that's what you need. It's not really even
Yeah.
about what they did or didn't do or whatever. That stuff's inevitable. You're a whole different person. How you behave is completely different how somebody else behaves. We get into a lot of trouble when we expect everyone to do exactly what we would do.
Yeah.
And then we're like, well, I if when I love people, I do this. And that's why like learning about love languages and all that stuff is so important to realize, oh, no, 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 we're all different people. What you want is whatever the conflict is going to be inevitable. If you can chat it out and work through it afterwards, that's actually where the growth is happening. It's not about never fighting or never having conflict, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there are very few couples that don't actually fight very often. And I'm always like, great. Good for you guys. But like, there, it is good to have some arguments, even if they're just little tiny things, at least you're not the same person, like you said. Like, no one is identical. You can be super similar, but you're still not the same person and you're not going to have the same reaction.
The majority of our conflict with most people is that it's always like, well, you didn't do what I would do, or
Mhm.
why would you say that, or if you wanted to be in a relationship with me, you would have done this, right? So it's
Yeah,
always measuring other people. I think that's the majority of our conflict in our society is expecting people to think or be the way you are,
I do
which is
hate that.
impossible,
I
you
know
know?
that's kind of a feminine quality, and I do apologize for our gender, but still, like, I really hate when people expect you to know what they're thinking and do what they think you should do, and you have no idea. It is the biggest pet peeve of mine.
Oh, yeah. It's like my sister's been with her husband for 30 years, and there's just some things, it's like, it's just absolutely not going to change. He is never, ever, ever going to have the kind of brain that you have. He's not going to think 10 steps ahead. And sometimes I'll say, I'm just like, we have to remember that for example, I have a real strength of communicating my emotions. I know exactly what upsets me right away. If something feels off, I usually ask people right away so I don't get any preconceived notions or anything. I'll be like, "Hey, I was like, did I upset you when I said that?" And they'll be like, "Oh God, no, I'm have got something else going on. I'm stressed out about something at home or whatever." And you're like, "Oh my goodness!" But we always like internalize, take things personally. It's actually kind of an egotistical thing to do to make everything about you. But
Yeah.
so I always clarify before I react. Like I'll be like making sure, whatever, right? But I had an ex who was, again, not as communicative. And I remember one time, like him just kind of being in a bad mood or whatever, and me racking my brains trying to think. I was like, because I said this, did I do that? Like trying to figure it out. We finally get to the bottom of it, and it was something was tiny and random from like 5 days ago. And
Oh,
I was like,
wow.
what? I was like, why wouldn't you say anything? And he was like, I didn't know. Like, he's like, I
Oh.
didn't know what actually upset me. It took that long. Like, so it was more of like, he was more of a brooder. So it was like
Mhm.
something, and I was like, oh, it's so easy for me to know why I'm upset. It's instant
Mhm.
almost. That path from heart to brain is like
Mhm.
this. But I was like, oh, you really like that's not your strength. Your strength isn't that. Your strength is like a million other strengths. But I was
Mhm.
like, oh, it's not that you don't want to talk to me about it or that you were purposefully hiding it from me or, doing anything malicious. It's just that like it just takes you a little longer to figure
Yeah.
out that you're upset and why.
Yeah.
And that was the big revelation for me.
That's a huge one. It really is. And just, I think it's so great that you have the patience and the understanding to just allow him to say that and be like, wow, I get it now. And, I'm sure you felt it for those 5 days. Like, what is this? Like, what's going on? But I mean, sometimes, yeah, you can't connect the two yet until you do. It just takes a lot of patience, I think, when you are speaking different languages and love languages. And that's, guys, for all you single people who are like, oh, I wish I had a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or I wish I were in a relationship. Man, it's a lot of work too. Even when it's good, it's still like constant work. And it doesn't mean it doesn't has to be hard. It just means that it's there. And
Yeah.
it's that, I mean, God, my girlfriend said this to me. She was like, when you get back in a relationship, just remember it's going to be like a mirror straight on you. And that is going to show you all the stuff you weren't able to heal when you were alone. And she was
Wow.
right. She was right. And all this fun stuff came up. And I was like, oh, yeah, I couldn't have done this on my own. I needed a partner to actually see it. But like the good news, I think, is that you do see it. And if you're willing to be humble enough to be like, oh, this is my shit. I don't know everything. Cool. Let me do that work right now. Especially if you've been doing the work for a while, it's faster. You're quicker. You recognize it. You'll take responsibility and you'll be like, let's fix it now for me so that I can be a better partner. And hopefully, you're with someone who's like that as well.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes, things come in a whisper or they come in a bang. So sometimes I've had like particular epiphanies in relationships where I think, wow, I couldn't possibly go back to how things were before because I've now had this sort of realization. And one of them, I think, was just the idea of like, yeah, that they are, in fact, a whole separate person, and that we're a
Mhm.
team. So I think I used to be like everything, all my fights before in my early relationships were about like, do you love me? Do you love me? If you love me, would you do this? If you, why would you do this? That must mean you don't love me. And that was essentially the root of every single argument. If I have go in with the idea of like, hey, this is my teammate, this is my friend, this person is on my side. If I
Mhm.
just even shift that one thing of like, not if I assume going in that this person is on my side, that means that we go, well, if there's a conflict, it must be a misunderstanding. I
Mhm.
don't suddenly assume my best friend my best girlfriend all of a sudden is out to get me one day with no warning.
Yeah.
So why would I assume that of my partner? You know?
Yeah.
Like that kind of defensive combative type of thing where I was like, so that adjustment. And then it was like in my second relationship, my first relationship, tons of fights,
Mm.
big arguments, like dealing, probably learning about how to processing our own childhoods and all that, like whatever,
Mhm.
right? Second relationship, that click of like, this is my best friend, this is my teammate, this person's always on my side. All of a sudden, I'm not jumping to conclusions anymore. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, I'm not like, analyzing them or expecting them to kind of behave like me. I'm just going, obviously, they're on my side. So let's figure out what the issue is. And
Yeah.
they were on my side, you know?
Yeah.
So
That's
much so that that they let me go when it was time for me to move to another country.
oh my God. Well, it was meant for you to move. I'm so happy you're here now.
I'm happy I'm here
But
too. That was actually a great gift of love. Honestly, I'm like, I was like, a true act of love. Honestly, was letting me go and recognizing that maybe we weren't a life match forever.
yeah.
I think that was a selfish or more selfish move, which we would interpret as of love, would be like, Stay here. I can't, I
Yeah.
can't live without you."
Yeah.
That's how we used to perceive love. Real love is like actually doing what's best for the other person, you know?
I love this. All right.
Me
I
too.
think we have definitely run the gamut of all kinds of things, love related and Valentine's Day. I think we should just do another episode on relationships.
Yeah.
We'll just come
Definitely.
back and do another episode. But thank you so much for coming on. Tell people how they can find you.
Yes. So my name is Inessa, Inessa, and I'm all over the internet as Inessa Comedy because I have a hard last name to pronounce. So Inessa Comedy. It is. I got like shows and videos and all kinds of stuff.
I love it. Everything will be in the show notes so you can find her and follow her. Thank you,
Yay!
Inessa, for coming on. Happy Valentine's.
Yes, happy Valentine's Day. And wear red. Why not?
Do it.
Last tip,
Wear
wear
it.
red. It's fun.